this lesson, let's learn to replace. 1. OKV processing line, linear pole side insulator operation knowledge. So let's think about it with two questions. First of all, can you tell us the function of pin insulators we've already learned about? The role of insulators, can you name them? Secondly, do you know? Pin insulators in operation, what are the faults? What are the types of failures? So let's think about this question. How do we replace insulators? First of all, let's review the basics of pin insulators. In distribution lines and electrical equipment, the conductor or conductive element, with the fixed parts of the electrical isolation of the components, we call them insulators. Then it must not only have the ability to withstand weather changes and chemical corrosion, but also good insulating properties and mechanical strength. Overhead distribution line insulators can be divided into line insulators and power station insulators, needle insulators, mostly used in lower voltage, and conductor tension is not too big on the distribution line. The wires are tied with a single strand of wire, tied to the top and side of the insulator. To hold it in place, what about pin insulators? According to the voltage class, can be categorized into high voltage pin insulators and low voltage pin insulators, according to the length of the insulator's fixing screw and the type of cross arm used for the insulators. Insulators are divided into insulators for iron cross arms and insulators for wooden cross arms. So let's take a look at replacement of 10 kilovolts, overhead distribution line straight pole. Preparatory work of side insulators. Here is a table of preparatory work. Let's continue to study according to the contents of the table. The content of this work is replacement of straight poles of 10 kilovolts overhead lines. Side insulators. The instruction manual for this operation is based on the trainer's organization. All the staff participating in the program, learning this operation instruction book. The third is the preparation of the tools. We need to prepare the necessary tools. Preparation of materials and spare parts. We have to prepare all the necessary, all materials and equipment. The fifth is to fill in the work ticket. We fill out the work ticket before operation and submit it to the issuer for review and issuance. Sixth is the site investigation. We have to organize all the participants, personnel to the scene to understand the situation. Then next, what are the requirements of this operator? Let's take a look. This is the list of personnel requirements. First of all, it is required that on-site staff's physical condition is good. Spirit should be full. Then we have to give all the personnel involved in the operation a description of the safety measures and the scope of operation. After safety precautions and other aspects of education. Then start working. Thirdly, all personnel must master the relevant knowledge in the safety regulations. And after passing the safety regulations test, doctors recognize that there is no obstacle to the work of the disease before they can participate in the work. Then we understand the next work equipment required for this operation. Required content. Please take a look. This is our work equipment needs table. So this operation it needs to have a fall arrestor. We need a 12-meter fall arrestor. 1 safety belt, 2 full body harnesses, 2 12-meter lanyards, 2 pairs of foot buckles, 2 wrenches, 1 12-inch and 1 10-inch, 2 pliers, a number of gloves, 2 steel tape measures 3 meters, 2 screwdrivers, a canvas mat, a number of safety fences and a corresponding pliers set, and 2 of our canvas bags, 2 back protection ropes. So next, let's take a look at the material requirement list for this operation. This is our material requirement list. So we're replacing the pin insulators. So we need 3 pin insulators. There are a number of hazards in this operation. Please take a look. This is our hazard analysis table. The first hazard is falling from height. The second is falling objects and injuries. Thirdly, before climbing the pole, you should check the pole foot buckle. Check the safety belt. Work clothes should be worn when climbing the pole. Insulated shoes and helmets. Fourthly, auxiliary workers should not stay below the pole. Prevent falling objects from hurting people. The fifth is the fall of the pole. The sixth is the injury of people on the pole. What about the safety measures for this operation? This is a table of safety measures. You can read it. First of all, We have to check the mental condition of the workers, avoid getting sick, and work with a depressed spirit. Secondly, all personnel must wear proper working clothes, work shoes and safety helmets. Thirdly, the construction site must be properly fenced. Prevent unrelated personnel from entering the work area. Fourthly, explain the work task, analyze and prevent dangerous points. Fifth, implement specialized supervision. Sixth, strictly follow the workflow. Avoid confusion. Seventh, before starting work should check the line name, whether the pole number is correct, whether the pole base is solid, whether the depth of burial is appropriate, whether the pole is straight. Our cracks should also meet the requirements of the regulations. Before the eighth pole, we should first check the foot buckle, whether the safety belt is within the validity period, whether there is wear and tear, and deformation damage. If it does not meet the requirements, are strictly prohibited to use. Ninth, if you use the foot buckle to climb the pole, you should use throughout the safety belt protection in place, and immediately hang the backup protection rope. 10th, the personnel on the pole. Safety belt should be fastened at least 0.5 meters from the top of the pole. Prevent the safety belt from slipping out from the top of the pole. 11 iron components should be firmly tied. It is strictly prohibited to stand under the pole when lifting. 12 the transfer of any materials and tools. Should use the rope, strictly prohibit throwing. 13 personnel on the pole in place. Should immediately tie the rope on the pole. 14 other staff should stand at the safe place to watch. Shall not leave without authorization. Do not approach the workstation without orders. 15 before climbing the pole, check that your shoes are not slippery, whether the foot buckle is fastened securely and tightly. Then next, this is the division of labor table of our operation. First, according to the group number, the first person to go on duty, the second person to prepare. Third, the third person according to the group number is responsible for bundling materials. The fourth person according to the group number is responsible for monitoring. Fifth, the rest of the men are in a safe place. Observe the boarding of the pole and the installation of the crossbar. Sixth, and so on. So the next step is to understand the operation. Replacement of 10 kilovolts overhead line. Straight pole side to the insulator of the specific operating procedures. First of all, let's learn about the preparations for the start of work. This is a preparatory table. The first, we have to fulfill the start of work procedures. The second, we have to organize a site survey. Explain the safety measures, danger point analysis. Use the work ticket for the operation. Thirdly, rationalize the division of labor. Check work equipment and materials. Specific work content and standards. Is our work content and standard table. You can take a look. First of all, the first step is to lay a canvas mat. Then place tools and materials neatly on the canvas mat. Requirements for light handling of work equipment. To prevent damage to the canvas mat or tools and materials, the second step is to set up a safety fence. Set up a safety fence around the working poles. Leave an exit. Reasonable size and direction of the opening are required. The third, pre-shift meeting. Accounting for work tasks. Workflow. Analyze danger points and preventive measures. Checking the mental state of the personnel. Personal dress code. Fourth, check the work post. Check the double name of the pole according to the work task. Check the depth of burial. Whether the pole is straight or not. Check whether the horizontal and vertical solid cracks meet the requirements. Prevent from boarding the pole by mistake or boarding the pole that is not in accordance with the requirements. Fifth, preparation for climbing the pole. Wear the safety belt in the correct way. And conduct impact test on the foot buckle and safety belt. Tie the lanyard on the body. Require the appearance of the pole climbing safety tools to be inspected. Check if it is within the validity period of the test. Tighten the leg buckle straps. Slippery shoes should be dried before boarding. If there is a lot of mud and sand, remove the mud and sand before climbing. The sixth pole should be stomped in the correct way. Tie one end of the rope to the pole when in position. The other end will fall to the ground when you are required to pedal the pole. Adjust the size of the buckle at the right time. The buckle should fit the pole. The step should not be too big. One hand should hold the safety belt so that it rises with the human body. The protection of the safety belt should not be lost during the whole process of pedaling. Immediately after the position should tie the back protection rope when reaching the top of the pole. It should be prevented from rushing to the top. 7th, replacement of pin insulators on straight poles. 1. Loosen the fixing bolts of the pin insulator. Just loosen a few screws. Do not remove the nuts. To remove the wire, put the waste wire in the work bag, then place the wire on the crossarm. 3. Remove insulators to be replaced. Place the insulator under the pole with a passing rope. The new insulator is then lifted up the pole with the transfer rope. Installation. Insulators should be removed one by one. Install one insulator. 4. Place the wire in the top groove of the pin insulator. Perform lashing to secure. Top lashing requirements for insulators. An aluminum tape should be in contact with the wire and insulator. 1 layer of aluminum tape should be wrapped around the wire in an outward direction. 2nd, the starting position of tying line should be close to the insulator. 3rd, insulators have 2 crosses at the top. 4th, after winding, 6 turns on each side of the insulator. Aluminum tape is exposed about 2030 millimeters at each end. 5th, when winding, the wire is turned upward from the bottom of the wire. When winding up, the end of the rope should go back to the middle of the insulator from the bottom of the wire. The end should be twisted 2 to 3 twists. Uniform force and flattening. Check the quality of insulator binding. Confirm that there are no leftovers on the pole before dismounting. Require the guardian not to do other work when working. Staff should fasten the safety belt to pass things with a rope. Prohibit throwing things to the pole. Should not drop things to the pole. Strictly prohibit idle people to stay. 3. Cross over the work of replacing insulators in the field. Do a good job of the second line of protection. Prevent accidental wire running. 8. Personnel down the pole in accordance with the correct method of descending the pole. Adjust the size of the foot buckle at the right time when dismounting the pole. The foot buckle should fit the pole. The step should not be too big. 1 hand should hold the safety belt. Make it descend with the human body. The protection of the safety belt shall not be lost during the whole process of descent. End of the 9th operation. After the work is finished, check carefully whether tools and materials are left behind. Compare with the work ticket whether or not all the work tasks are completed. Check that the equipment is in the correct condition, etc. Declare the end of the work only when there is no problem. Ask for a head count, announcing the end of the work. No one is allowed to work on the pole without authorization. 2nd, count the work materials. Inventory of the work site. Next, let's look at the requirements for job termination. This is the end of job termination form. 1. Clean up the job site. Recover dismantled materials. 2. After checking that there are no problems, the person in charge of the job reports to the site manager. Fulfill the procedure of finalizing the work. 3. Summarize the operation and make a record of the maintenance. Next, we will watch the video of this operation. Passing insulators. Insulators should not collide with each other during the transfer process. Insulators should be installed parallel to the line. Installation should be vertical and firm. Cleaning insulators. Cleaning of the insulator on the pole. Operator off the pole. Clean up the side. Finish the work. The above is the whole content of this operation. Thank you.